Well, good morning. It's Tuesday morning, 9:45. I spent the night here at the shipper that I'm picking up at 2 o'clock this afternoon, but I'm actually walking to the shipping and receiving office right now, see if I can get loaded early. But I woke up to snow. Whole truck was covered in snow. It must have snowed last night after I went to sleep, obviously. But yeah, I have a one-day run here. I am going from Hazleton, Pennsylvania to Aberdeen, Maryland. Short little run, and like I said, I'm walking into the shipping and receiving office now to see if I can't get loaded early and just get on the road. I'd like to hit a truck stop and take a shower. I had to come to this facility after my delivery last night because there was no parking at the truck stop that I stopped at. So yeah, we're gonna go see if we can get loaded early. Well, I know it's really windy out because my eyes are watering, but yeah, they gave me a door and said the load's ready to ship, so perfect. Like I said, it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning. My appointment's not until 2, and then I deliver tonight at 8, so I don't have far to go either. I'll talk more about this once I get to the truck, man. It's cold out here today. Well, I spent the night in their back parking lot, and now I am entering their main shipping area, and I need to go to door number 12, slide my tandems, keep my doors closed, and they'll load me very early. All right, let's talk about this one-day run. So last week on Wednesday, I already knew I was coming out here to Pennsylvania. So even though I was at home, I reached out to a broker that I've worked with hundreds of times before and said, hey, I will be empty Monday night in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Do you have anything available? I'm looking for kind of a short little hop. And the broker's like, yeah, I have a load that picks up in Hazleton, PA and delivers in Aberdeen, Maryland. That is 180 loaded miles. I had a 20-mile deadhead from where I delivered last night. I think 25 miles actually. So it ends up being 205 all miles in. I got it for $800. That's still a little bit less than what I'm used to getting, but you know what? I'm very happy with this because it picks up today. It wasn't scheduled to pick up until 2 o'clock this afternoon and deliver at 8 o'clock at night, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning right now. I'm getting loaded, and what this load does is it protects all my revenue coming out here to Pennsylvania. That's what I'm trying to do in 2023 is like protect good revenue to my business. And hauling customer freight right now is generating really good revenue for my business. So I want to protect that. And the way I've been able to do that is take loads that don't cost a lot for me to operate the truck to get there and make the delivery. And it's enough that it covers all my fuel costs for getting out here. And then tomorrow I have another one-day load scheduled before I pick up more customer freight, which will secure the revenue getting back to Minnesota. That's what I'm trying to do. This is my second time doing it out here on the East Coast. The first time worked great. So yeah, I'm picking up a load right now that it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't deliver until 8 o'clock tonight, but I want to get loaded early, find a truck stop so I can take a shower, because I spent the night here in their lot last night. There was no available parking after I got unloaded in Pottsville. So yeah, little quick, easy one-day run, $800 to go all in, 205 miles. I mean, I can't complain about that. So this facility loads you and seals your trailer from inside. So it's always a good idea to check your BOL and make sure the seal number matches. So I'm checking the last 4 numbers. I have 8826. The BOL last 4 is 8826. So we're good. It's all, like I said, it's a good habit to get into anytime you don't seal your trailer, or you don't see them seal it for you, double check your paperwork and just make sure the seal matches. Well, good evening. It's 6:40 p.m. I am getting ready to leave the service plaza here in Maryland off 95. I stopped earlier today at a Love's, took a shower, and then I came to this rest area 6.7 miles away from the receiver. And you can't show up that early to this CNS warehouse. You can show up about an hour early, any earlier, and they might turn you away. So I'm going to get ready to leave now. I'm going to jump out of the truck and just do a quick pre-trip, make sure all the lights and everything are still working. I do that every time I stop for a long period of time, and I've been stopped for like 5 hours now. So I'm going to get out and just make sure everything's good and then get on the road. I don't have far to go to get there. Have arrived to CNS, and we have to sit out here on the road and wait to check in. Well, it's a busy night here tonight at CNS here in Aberdeen, Maryland. You have to park your truck and then walk up to door 53 and put your paperwork in the mailbox. So that's what I'm doing right now. So here's the mailbox, and you just put your paperwork in and then go back to your truck and wait for them to call you.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay left.
Well, it's 5 minutes to 9 here at CNS in Aberdeen, Maryland. I just got a door, just backed into a door, so 55 minutes after my scheduled 8 o'clock appointment, which I showed up at 7. So I've been sitting here almost 2 hours waiting for a door, which, you know, it's pretty typical at these big grocery warehouses, and sometimes you sit hours waiting to get unloaded. I have seen trucks back into docks and get unloaded pretty quickly here, so hopefully I experience that. But that brings up a topic that, like, I wish could be resolved, and that is, like, my Raycon says that if I am an hour late for my appointment without calling or notifying somebody, that I'm going to be charged $200 late fee. Why aren't shippers and receivers held to the same standards? You know what I mean? Like, why doesn't somebody fine them when they take hours past our appointment times to get us into dock doors or to unload us? I honestly think, like, that's the biggest problem in the trucking industry, is the shippers and receivers and their lack of accountability on getting us loaded or unloaded. There is so much that is out of our control as truck drivers to sometimes make appointments. You know, we have federal regulations on how long we have to take our breaks, when we have to take our breaks. You know, after 8 hours of driving, you need a half-hour break, so you need to work that in when you're making sure you're on time for appointments. Whether traffic, an accident. There are so many things that are out of our control when it comes to making sure we're on time for appointments. Now, I think I've been late twice in like 2.5 years to appointments. I always try and show up an hour early. But here's the thing, like, these shippers and receivers know days in advance on when we are going to be here. And yet they still can't abide by the time that they tell the shipper or the broker or the customer on what time they want us here. I think that's the biggest problem in trucking. Not the brokers are keeping all the money, and, you know, I could go on and on of all the complaints I hear on YouTube, but I think that's the biggest complaint I have in my 25-year career of trucking is I wish there was somebody that like oversaw the accountability of shippers and receivers. You know, I'll leave it at that. Drop a comment below. Argue with me, because arguments are fun. Don't argue, because I'm not going to respond. But anyways, I'll give you guys an update when I'm unloaded here. Well, it's 10:30 p.m., 2.5 hours after my 8 p.m. delivery, and I am unloaded here at CNS in Aberdeen, Maryland. No more lumber fees at CNS, pretty nice. But now I need to go find a spot to park, and I'll talk more about the load once I park. All right, let's break down this same-day run from Hazleton, Pennsylvania to Aberdeen, Maryland. The load paid $800. I work for a 90-10 split carrier, so that is $720 to me, the contractor, in gross revenue for the load. The load was 180 loaded miles with a 25-mile deadhead for 205 total miles on this. It weighed 15,000 pounds. It was frozen bread and frozen dough. The temp on the bills was 0 to -10. Well, after I got loaded, I turned the reefer on and the box temp was reading -11. So I just turned my reefer to -11, start and stop. And I think it fired up one time. And then about 2 hours before I got to the receiver, I turned the reefer on to continuous just to allow air movement in there. Very simple load. It took 30 minutes to load, 3 hours of driving, and 3.5 hours of unload time. Now, the reason there's 3.5 hours of unload time is I had an 8 o'clock appointment. I was out of there by 10:30, but I showed up at 7 o'clock. So all hours on this load was 7 hours, because I took like, 5-6 hours off in sleeper berth before I got to the receiver. So yeah, I would say all in all, super simple load. I took this load to protect all the revenue coming out here to the East Coast, to Pennsylvania. I hauled a customer load that finaled on Monday, and I wanted to protect all the revenue in that. And actually, I fueled up Monday in Pennsylvania for $4.11. I thought that was a great deal. Don't hit me. A great deal out here in Pennsylvania. So I filled up, and I ended up purchasing 148 gallons of truck fuel and 22.3 gallons of reefer fuel Monday after my customer load, for a grand total of $699.93. So this load that I just did, same day delivery, covered all my fuel costs for coming out here to the East Coast. And that's what I wanted to protect. And actually tomorrow I have another, I pick up late afternoon, deliver very early the next morning. And it sets me up for a customer load out of like Massachusetts area. And that's actually a really good load. And what I've noticed out here on the East Coast, why I'm trying to protect the good revenue coming out here and the good revenue I get when I leave here, is for the last couple of weeks, the market's been like this out here on the East Coast. And like I've shared before, if you don't have contacts out here, man, it can be hard. Like, be careful coming out here to the East Coast. So yeah, anyways, I want to protect my revenue coming out here and my revenue going back. So I figure the easiest way I can do that is try and run like 200 miles a day and try and earn as much as I can on that $200 that protects all my revenue, pays for my fuel and pays for my tolls. Now I'm cheap, so I try to avoid tolls whenever possible. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Until next time, you know what it is. Keep on trucking.